Neek's plans being made by his dick. Fucking the competition.
Who's your brother fine ass smashing?
Rock.
Well, so it looks like Ronnie Myers' first kill was actually Deen. And I was like, okay, it was Deen. And the way he was like, yeah, you shouldn't be running your mouth. And you put the knife in his back while the grandmother was watching TV. I was like, oh, shit. Woo! I was like, oh, shit. Now. We're going to talk about the meat and potatoes here because Rock's little stunt on putting the gun in Kanan's back, it was effective. Her plan was really effective because you got the feds looking into everything, and Kanan is selling weed, and it's only gonna make things worse because they keeping their eyes on Rock. They got their eyes on Kanan, so it's just like it was effective. It was dirty, but it was very effective to get it so that way they're a happy family. But Kanan's just like he does not want to be around her. Now here's the problem. Famous knows about this, and he let it happen. So, you know what's going to happen when Kanan finds out about this? Now, this could potentially lead to either Famous getting his ass beat or maybe him getting killed. It's very possible. Because, look, listen. This is 2 strikes for Famous. If Kanan forgives him and he doesn't, like, kill him and he just forgives him, Famous has 2 strikes on him. 3rd strike, he's out. 3rd strike. So I'm like, oh, I don't know what Famous is doing, but it ain't looking good because Kanan warned him about that Rock stuff. But then we seen like towards the ending where he was looking out the window and he was seeing like Detective Howard and Rock talking. So he's gonna figure it out like, okay, she probably has something to do with this, and Famous let her back into the house. Like he's gonna figure this stuff out because he's not stupid. So I'm just like, well, that's gonna happen, right? Then we seeing like Henry Snaps. You know, he made his appearance, and as we seen, because Ronnie was trying to get work from Henry Snaps, and you know, he was just like, all right, I give you a little bit of a loan, but I expect, you know, for you to reimburse my money, right? And then we seen like Ronnie trying to get, you know, he was trying to go to Deen, and Deen was just like, nah, I'm not dealing with your brother, and I'm kind of out the game as well. So he was still trying to insist, and that's when Deen had his guy have the gun on him, and he was just like, listen, I own you, right? You know, it's kind of funny seeing that actor because he was in The Wire, and he played like a different role, even though his ass got strangled in prison, but digress. But, you know, it was just that, you know, Ronnie was trying to get some work. Then he goes over to like Juliana and her cousin. He's trying to get work from them, but then it's just that he's saying, you know, fuck the history, but it's just like, listen, Unique kidnapped Juliana, and she still hasn't forgiven that. But then, you know how they was kind of like looking at each other? He was like looking at each other like, I would assume she probably might try to take him up on his offer because he just said, yeah, you know, things can be settled. And I'm like, what you gonna say? Like, she's gonna probably try to reach out to Ronnie and be like, hey, I don't know, maybe you should do something about your brother. And he was like, yeah, no problem. Because he was already pissed that Unique kind of like messed up the plans where he's like, yeah, this man he's thinking with his dick. He's sticking his dick inside, you know, Raquel, so he's messing things up. And then as we seen when Henry and his wife, they was just, oh, Raquel. And it's kind of, I like how everybody just knows each other because this was like back in the days where Ronnie was doing work for Henry before he went in. So I'm just like, yeah, I love how, you know, everything kind of like simultaneously connect, despite Henry Snaps explaining that he's also retired, but you know, they still have some money coming in. So I love all of this because it does make things nice to know that, you know, yeah, you have retired people and it's different compared to like all of the other power shows where we've seen like, you know, them either still being active in the game or them trying to either leave the game or, you know, it's always like one of the two. It's never like, okay, they fully retired. So, you know, it kind of does make me wonder about that question of how, you know, there's no really leaving the game. It's either by death or by prison, right? And we're going to see on, like, Henry Snaps because, I mean, if he dies this season, sure. I mean, I kind of don't want him to, but we all know how this works. So something probably might happen to him at the end, right? But, hey, we've seen some sort of progression with Ronnie because he's just like, hey, he's going to get his work, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be through Kanan. Because once when all this stuff is resolved, it's going to be with Kanan, which Rock is going to flip out about because he's going to be like, wait a minute. why is Ronnie hanging out with Kanan? This ain't right. But that's gonna happen. It's gonna happen though, because since Raquel technically shut down Kanan's, I wouldn't say his business, because she does well technically if you think about it, because he can't really freely move around like that. But who knows? Because Paul showed up and he was just like, listen, my guys is, they trying to work for you, or they not trying to stay away from this weed stuff. And Kanan's just like, no, I got you settled. But then since all this stuff happened with Kanan, I guess like some of Paul's guys and his best runners, they might just go back with Paul. But then at the same time, you got Sam Rat, right? Because Sam Rat was like, he only does business with Kanan. He doesn't want to do business with Famous because Famous wants to smoke up everything. And as we've seen, Famous is trying to get back to the rapping. So I'm like, again, it's already 2 strikes for Famous. So the clock is ticking on him. Clock is ticking on Famous. So I'm just like, ugh, it ain't looking too good. Now, Unique and Rock, when they was having a little time together, and she was just like, nah, let's just put pause on this, because she was already putting her plans into motion that, well, technically Kanan, I'm going to force Kanan to come back with me. Again, it was a very smart move. It's a very smart move, with everything that's going on. So I'm just like, okay, very smart. And then we have Special Agent Tanner, where he was, trying to run some ideas through Detective Howard, like, okay, like, they don't really buy the whole Crown Camacho business, that, yeah, it was all Crown. They got the ideas and theories, speculating that, maybe it's actually Raquel, because they said, oh, yeah, but he said it was that music guy. So I'm like, uh-oh, so what they looking at Lulu, they looking at everybody. They really looking at everybody, and they trying to, like, see what's going on. And then, he asked Detective Howard, he said, oh, was there any, luck on your shooting? And he's just like, I mean, I don't know. It's up in the wind right now, because he can't tell them, hey, well, technically my son shot me. Who's your son? Kanan. Isn't she? Oh, he can't say that. So he just got to, play coy with the feds and just, see if what he said maybe goes away. But I don't think so, because they're going to be looking into everything. Shit, they might even reopen up the Shannon case and be like, okay, what she was really investigating. Because despite him trying to, like, make that shit go away, the feds is going to look into everything, and then they're going to be like, oh. Or if Nadina, give them the information or whatever, then they start looking into some things, because it's a rabbit hole. Well, it's not really a rabbit hole. It's really the truth. It's just that he's trying to bury the truth. So, we just going to have to wait and see on the next couple of episodes on what's going to happen there. And, but like I said before, Rock's a dangerous woman for what she did. And Famous is on his last 2 strikes, because I'm just like, hey, it's not going to be looking good for Famous at all. And then we've seen Jukebox, get into, like, the whole music thing. And I'm just like, okay, all right. We're going to see what's going to happen there. I mean, even though she's already kind of, like, debating, because it's like, oh, she still wants to do military, but then she wants to be a singer. But again, we already know it's not going to happen, because something's going to happen to where she's going to be like, all right, this music stuff, I'm not doing this anymore. And she's going to probably try to focus more on military, but then probably realize military isn't for her and it's not her calling card, and eventually it's going to be her deciding on to become a cop. That's what it really is. It's just like she's trying to, like, figure some stuff out, but we know it's not going to happen. And then, Marvin and Lulu's new sort of business ventures with the whole bar, and how Shirley was explaining that, hey, maybe she got another 2 more years, and then after that she wants to retire, and then I guess maybe give the bar over to Lulu. And then they bring in, like, some new talent. They start making music, and Marvin's just like, well, I gotta get paid. And he's like, nah, that's that rock shit. Like, let's keep it clean here. But I'm thinking it's not going to stay clean for long, because something might happen, and then they might have to bring in the drugs through the bar. I would say this is sort of like a hint for the future reference of Power, of OG Power, where it was just like they were selling drugs through the nightclub, so they probably might be selling drugs through the bar. So I don't know. I feel like they probably might do that. As well. And then we got to see more of a character development from Marvin, where him and Gerald was actually talking. He was just like, despite Regina's death, and he felt like she was the only one that actually heard him. So he's just like, hey, maybe we should like do our own thing and I guess cope one another and try to like balance each other out. Because like I said, Marvin came a long way. He really did. From the first season, he came a long way because again, he was aggressive and beating the hell out of Juke. So it was just like, no, he came a long way. He's changing. He's starting to become everybody's favorite, I should say. I feel like when it first started, I think people was maybe looking at Lulu more, but I think now people is probably looking at Marvin more, because Marvin seems like he's the guy, like he's stepping it up. But at the same time, I feel like he probably might betray Lulu's trust, because if Rock has anything to say or do about it, then there probably will be drugs up in there. But again, we just gonna have to like wait and see on what's gonna actually happen. But overall, what do you guys think of this episode, right? Of how ruthless Rock was with the whole putting the gun in Kanan's bag and pretending she don't know nothing. I don't know. I feel like Ghost would do some shit like that. That's some Ghost shit. Like, I don't know. I feel like he would do some shit like that if he was. He was a little smart. He probably would have came up with something a little bit different than putting the gun in a bag. But I don't know. I thought that the plan was smarter for us to do that, to get Kanan there. Because again, Kanan doesn't even know what's going on. He doesn't even know that the feds is looking into everything. He's just like having a time of his life selling all the weed on the corners and having people do it. He don't know a thing. And Rock's not telling him, so it makes things worse. So he's going to have to figure out maybe all of this and then figure a way of getting back into what he was doing again and selling weed. And then we know Ronnie's going to probably come along and be like, well, I need work and, let's work together. But again, I feel like they might work together, but again, he still wants Rock gone, so Kanan's still going to be in danger either way, by the feds looking into things or by crazy loony Ronnie coming up in people's homes like he's Michael Myers and ganking niggas in the back. So I'm just like, hey, it's going to be one hell of a time. But overall, like, comment, subscribe, and share. If y'all having a great Christmas, Merry Christmas. And hopefully I have a good New Year's, and I catch y'all all in the next one.